Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are focusing on what might just be, well, honestly, it's kind of the ultimate life hack for actually getting what you want.
Yeah, and it's rooted entirely in the art of clear expression.
Right, so our source material today is this really fascinating piece. It's titled Advanced Cultivation, Expressing Yourself Clearly, and it's by View Feng.
It's a great text. And I think the mission for this conversation is really to just cut through the fluff, like all that personal development fluff, and figure out why our goals so often just stall out.
Totally. We're going to look at how getting hyper-specific, and I mean ruthlessly specific, is the actual key to what the author calls advanced cultivation.
Right, because the core premise we're dissecting today challenges a very, very common instinct. I mean, we usually think our goals fail because of, external obstacles.
Sure, like bad timing or lack of money or whatever.
Exactly. But this material forces us to look at the exact words we use when we form a desire.
Well, think about how you use like a navigation app on your phone. You get in your car, you open the app, and you type in absolute coordinates.
Right.
Swiss,
Okay.
yeah, like 123 Main Street, city zip code. You would never just type somewhere fun.
Oh, definitely not.
Or like a place where I won't be stressed out. If you tried that, the GPS would just sit there buffering, or, I don't know, it would route you to a random carnival 3 states over.
Yeah, the technology is completely paralyzed without precise input. I mean, the system has all the maps in the world, right? It has the processing power to get you there.
Right.
But it absolutely requires an exact destination to calculate the route.
And yet, if you look at how we navigate our actual lives,
Yeah.
whether you are prepping for a major career pivot or trying to learn a complex new skill or even just searching for some peace of mind, we throw that demand for precision completely out the window.
We really do.
We just sort of stare up at the ceiling and ask for something good to happen. And then when we end up feeling lost or stagnant, we get frustrated. We blame the universe or the system or whatever.
It's a striking contradiction. We expect reality to deliver this perfectly tailored outcome based on the most ambiguous input imaginable.
Yeah.
And the material frames this around an interaction with the greatest creator or, the non-material universe.
Yeah.
And the message coming back from this non-material world is shockingly straightforward.
Which is what?
Basically, your desires remain unfulfilled because you just haven't bothered to express them clearly.
Okay, let's unpack this, because when you first hear, just be clear, it sounds almost, I don't know, too simple.
It does sound simple.
But the concept goes much deeper into the actual mechanics of how desires materialize. The idea is that the non-material universe literally cannot assist us because our hearts are a moving target,
Yeah, we change our minds constantly.
sometimes several times a day.
Let's look at the physics of a responsive system, right? If the universe, or even just any complex system like a massive corporate hierarchy, operates by responding to demand, it needs a static target to build momentum.
Okay, what do you mean by static target?
Well, if you wake up on Monday wanting to be an entrepreneur and then decide by Wednesday you want the security of a corporate job,
Right, yeah.
and by Friday you just want to move to the woods, any structural support that started forming to help you on Monday is immediately dismantled by Wednesday.
Oh, wow. So you are basically canceling your own orders before the kitchen even starts cooking.
Precisely.
The examples used to illustrate this in the text are just painfully relatable, like people scream into the void, I want to be rich.
A classic one.
But if you think about it, what does that actually mean? Is it material wealth? Is it spiritual richness? What is the exact, like, mathematical standard of rich for you?
Right, because rich is a relative state. It's not a destination. I mean, to someone making minimum wage, $50,000 is rich.
Yeah, absolutely.
But to a billionaire, $1 million is a rounding error. If you don't define the parameters, the mechanism of cause and effect just has nothing to lock onto.
And crucially, the material pushes back on the idea that this friction is due to, like, cosmic negligence or the universe being unfair.
Exactly. It is purely a failure of expression.
Even people who think they are playing the spiritual game at a really high level fall into this trap. Someone might say, I want to go to heaven. And the non-material universe is stuck asking, which one?
Yeah, the text is great here.
It is. The source material throws out all these specific esoteric examples, asking if you mean the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, or the celestial islands continent.
Which highlights how vague we usually are.
Right. And regardless of what your personal version of heaven looks like, whether it's a literal cosmic afterlife or just a quiet retirement cabin by a lake somewhere, if you just say heaven, you're giving the universe a blank canvas. and then getting mad when nothing is painted on it.
A concept like heaven is so often treated as an absolute, but it's highly subjective. It requires definition. The universe requires a clear image. And without a clear image, the necessary support just cannot materialize.
It's like saying, I want joy and freedom.
Right.
Like, what is the actual shape of that joy? Does joy mean eating a chocolate chip cookie right now?
Or does it mean buying a new outfit?
Exactly. Does freedom mean building a villa abroad? Or just, I don't know, having a free afternoon to visit a friend?
Those words, joy and freedom, they're just conceptual vessels. They are completely empty until you pour specific actions or conditions into them.
There's an analogy here in the text about ordering a drink that really drives this home for me. If you walk up to a counter and say, I want a drink.
The person behind the counter is immediately stuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want coffee, tea, cola, orange juice? Unless you explicitly say any drink will do, you are basically setting a trap for disappointment.
Take that restaurant analogy a step further. You aren't just frustrating the waiter, you are breaking the entire transaction.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
The kitchen has all the ingredients, the staff is totally ready to work, but your refusal to commit to a specific item halts the whole operation.
Okay, but I have to push back a little here, though.
Sure.
Think about human nature. Isn't it completely normal to not know exactly what we want?
Of course.
Especially for you listening to this right now, when you're exploring a new field or maybe a new relationship. Isn't figuring out what you want fundamentally part of the process?
It is, and that is the tension at the heart of this concept. Exploration is natural. But the distinction being made here is between intentional exploration and indecision masquerading as exploration.
Well, that's interesting. Indecision masquerading as exploration.
Right. The non-material universe requires structural design. If you say, I want to build a comfortable house, but you provide zero blueprints.
The builders can't pour the foundation.
Exactly. They can't build a house out of the adjective comfortable.
Yeah.
But if you are exploring, your clear expression might be, I want to try 3 different introductory courses this month to eliminate what I don't like. That is a precise command. Just wandering around hoping an outcome drops into your lap, though. That is where the system breaks down.
So without those blueprints, we are essentially just shouting into a void of our own making. And this vagueness doesn't just stall out our material goals like buying a house or getting a promotion.
No, it goes much further.
It completely sabotages personal and spiritual growth. People use these grand, sweeping phrases like, I want to elevate my spirituality.
That phrase is a prime example of an empty command. It sounds important, it sounds deep, but it lacks actionable coordinates. It's the equivalent of a farmer standing in an empty dirt field and declaring, I want to grow vegetables.
Yes, you can't just plant the concept of a vegetable into the dirt. You have to pick carrots or cabbage or tomatoes.
You have to buy specific seeds.
And that brings us to the true cost of this vagueness. It leads to a state of perpetual wandering. The source material uses this series of striking limitations to illustrate choice.
I love these analogies.
They're so vivid. It points out that if there are 1,000 beds in a warehouse, you can still only sleep in one. If there are 100 boats on a riverbank, you can only take one to cross the water.
And if there are hundreds of planes idling on the tarmac, you can only board one flight. You cannot fly to London, Tokyo, and New York simultaneously.
Right. So these metaphors highlight the inescapable reality of physical and temporal limits. We observe how people behave in these pursuit-driven communities. They spend years just admiring one boat's craftsmanship.
Yeah, and then they wander down the shoreline to analyze another boat's sail.
They test the mattress on one bed, then hop over to the next one.
Constantly browsing.
So what does this all mean for us today? This sounds like the ultimate ancient description of choice paralysis. It is spiritual doom scrolling.
Spiritual doom scrolling, yeah, that's a perfect modern translation.
You are infinitely scrolling through possible paths without ever taking a single step down one. But here's where it gets tricky for me. If you commit to just one boat, does that mean you have to actively ignore the beauty of the other 99?
It isn't about ignoring their beauty, it's about acknowledging the actual function of a boat. A boat is meant to cross the river. You can appreciate the 99 other boats, but you still have to choose one if you want to reach the other side.
That makes sense.
The core value being communicated here is that a path is only valuable when it is traveled. Wandering back and forth, admiring everything but committing to nothing, squanders the only non-renewable resource we have.
Time.
Time. Critics who just stand on the shore pointing fingers and evaluating all the vessels, they are not true practitioners.
Oof. That is a tough reality to face.
Mm.
We are so conditioned to believe that keeping our options open makes us adaptable, well-rounded.
Yeah, flexibility is praised.
But this perspective argues that keeping your options open just keeps you stranded on the shore. It forces a really uncomfortable question. Is advanced growth really this simple? Is it literally just about expressing yourself clearly?
The mechanism is simple, the psychology is incredibly difficult.
Why do you say that?
Because why do we resist expressing ourselves clearly? It's because making a definitive choice strips away the comforting illusion of infinite potential.
Oh, wow.
When you choose one boat, you have to grieve the 99 you didn't take. You are closing doors. Most people prefer the safety of standing on the shore, dreaming about all the places they could sail, rather than taking the risk of actually navigating one specific river.
But the reward for that clarity is that you actually get to cross.
Exactly.
So we hold on to vagueness as a shield. Like if I never define what success looks like, I can never technically fail.
Precisely. Vagueness is a defense mechanism. And this defense mechanism is most visible and, honestly, most heavily satirized in our source material, in the way people communicate complex ideas.
Oh, this part is amazing. Because people are terrified of being specific, they try to sound profound by using just an avalanche of jargon.
Yes. The jargon trap.
If clear expression is the ultimate goal of advanced cultivation, why do so many thinkers, writers, and self-proclaimed experts sound so incredibly complicated?
Because they fall into a trap of illusion. The material provides a brilliant critique of pseudo-profound language. It actually offers these intentionally exaggerated paragraphs designed to mock this exact behavior.
I really have to read some of the specific phrases from this satire, because it sounds exactly like a dozen thought leadership posts I've seen online this week.
Please do.
Okay, imagine someone seriously talking about Bach's melody in quantum mechanics having an electrolytic nature.
It perfectly captures that specific brand of intellectual posturing. You just throw a revered artistic figure, a dense scientific discipline, and a random chemical property into a blender.
Right.
And then you just hope people are too intimidated to ask what it means.
Seriously. Or how about this visual? Antenna's polarization angles beautifully rotating between an elephant's toes. My mind can't even process that.
That's pure word salad.
And then there's the philosophical claim that love is the holistic projection of sexuality aligned with the natural law of the Tao.
So deep. So deep. Or the absolute peak of this, claiming that a tiger devouring a fawn reflects self-nature's ultimate conquest within the realm of love.
Yikes. The satire is sharp, but let's dissect the underlying mechanism there. Why do professionals and academics build these towering walls of vocabulary?
To sound smart?
Yes, but it is often to mask the fact that they haven't actually figured out what they want to say. They haven't done the agonizing work of defining their coordinates. They are trying to make the phrase, "I want to grow vegetables," sound like a profound revelation about the cosmos.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. Reading this flowery, complicated articles feels like doing work, but it's empty. It doesn't expand our understanding at all. It just confuses our thinking and traps us in a maze of what the author calls word games.
Absolutely.
There seems to be an inverse relationship between how many complicated words someone uses and how much they actually understand the foundation of their subject. True depth does not require convoluted word salads about Einstein's mass energy equation manifesting in mushroom clouds. Expressing oneself clearly doesn't require pretense. It requires understanding your own internal landscape.
Right.
When someone truly understands their objective, their expression naturally becomes remarkably simple and direct.
But let's ground this for you, the listener, because you are constantly bombarded with information, reports, deep dives, articles. How can you actually tell the difference between information that is genuinely complex because the subject matter demands it and someone who's just playing these empty word games to hide their lack of blueprints?
That's a vital question. A reliable test is to look for the function of the language.
The function.
Yeah. Genuinely complex information aims to clarify. It might rely on specialized terms, sure, but those terms act as precise coordinates. They point to a specific, measurable reality. Pseudo-profound jargon aims to obscure. It uses terms to sound authoritative without defining anything. If you read a paragraph about the maximization of self-lying and egolessness, or the extraordinary lying within the awareness of the ordinary.
Which sounds very nice.
It does. But if you cannot immediately translate that into a practical action or a clear mental image, you are caught in a word game. Time and energy shouldn't be wasted trying to decode expressions that deliberately avoid clarity.
That is incredibly validating. You don't have to pretend to understand the chaos butterfly effect if the person using the phrase can't explain how it helps you cross the river.
Exactly. And tying this back to our everyday lives, most friction and struggle between people arises precisely from this lack of clarity. We wrap our desires in vague language, expecting others or the universe to just, decode them.
No, man, think about a relationship where someone says, I just want you to be more supportive.
Such a common phrase.
Emotionally, that is completely valid. But structurally, it's the equivalent of saying, I want to go to heaven. It lacks an actionable blueprint.
Right, because what does supportive mean in that exact moment?
Yeah. Does it mean taking over the household chores for the weekend? Does it mean listening to a vent session for 20 minutes without offering a single piece of advice?
And without that clear expression, both people end up frustrated. One feels like they are failing a test they didn't get the study guide for, and the other feels like the universe is just ignoring their needs.
It's so true.
The power to materialize your desires relies entirely on your ability to define them with absolute precision. The system, whether that is a non-material creative force, your career network, or just your own family, is waiting for your coordinates.
So as you go about your day-to-day, take a hard look at whatever you are striving for. Whether you're prepping for a crucial meeting, asking for a promotion, or trying to learn a new skill, are you vaguely asking for a drink and hoping the universe guesses what you actually want?
Or are you specifically asking for orange juice?
Exactly. Are you standing on the shoreline, analyzing the paint job on 100 different boats, or are you finally going to commit, step into one boat, and actually cross the river?
The barrier isn't a lack of cosmic support. The barrier is the courage to know exactly what you want.
The navigation system only kicks in when you give it an exact destination. But I want to leave you with a final, slightly provocative thought to mull over until our next deep dive.
Let's hear it.
If the universe, or the non-material world, only responds to exact, specific coordinates, what happens if you do the hard work, you precisely define a goal, you step into the boat, but halfway across the river you realize you picked the wrong boat?
That's a great question.
Does hyperclarity lock us into a mistake? Or does making that clear, definitive choice finally generate the forward momentum we need to, learn how to steer? Keep that in mind as you map out your coordinates today.